Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another SHOUTCraft Clan War right here on MLG TV. I'm going to be a little less energetic today. I'm still recovering from surgery. There's still a big hole in my stomach. But I'm sure it'll be fine. You're just going to have to deal with the slightly less energetic me. It's going to be some great games regardless, so I'm sure they'll entertain you. It's going to be EG taking on Root in this Best of 7 Pro League format on some ridiculous maps, and of course we'll start with the most ridiculous of them all, Crazy Clash. Here's a look at our lineup today. We've got In Control taking on Kelazur, followed by the 2v2 on Ice Realms, Xenocider and Suppy taking on Hydra and Igers, followed by Suppy versus Hydra and a ZVZ on Engines of War, which might be a bit of a surprise for them. Well, it shouldn't be, because the map was changed like 2 weeks ago, but we have patched Engines of War to make some changes. We've slightly reduced the range of the cannon to 45, and we've also made it so that air units cannot control the cannon. Oh yes. So that is something that you do want to watch out for, and I think a lot of Zerg players have been favoring that map because of the Overlords being able to control the cannon. That's no longer the case, so just bear that in mind. Peninsula, next up, Xenocider versus Igers in a TVT, and then Huck taking on Supernova on Suncross, one of the biggest maps in the pool. And then, if we get that far, Legacy of the Void, we've got Jaedong taking on Kiwi Kaki, which should be quite fun, I think. Quite fun. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, that sounds like a really, really fantastic matchup as far as I'm concerned. Looking forward to it. Got plenty to come in the show today. I'm just going to check if everyone's ready to rock and roll, and if they are, we're going to get started here. I'm just going to just double check this. Yep, that's good. Cool. Everything is where we're supposed to be. Just double checking that we're okay for a spectator. Root's manager wants to have a look at the match today, which I'm fine with, but just going to have to wait on EG being okay with that. Yep, looks like they are. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. Alright. We're about ready to rock and roll, folks. It's going to be Crazy Clash up first. I'm interested to see what plan In Control has here. We generally don't see Protoss on this map, or Terran. I mean, we actually see quite a lot of Zerg here, so this could be kind of interesting. Countdown's now begun, folks. Crazy Clash will be the first map in this Best of 7 series. Here we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crazy Clash. It's my pleasure to introduce to you, in the pink trunks, playing Protoss, EG's In Control. Versus his opponent to the north position, in the red trunks, playing Terran, it is Root, Kelazur, who has been called Kel'Thuzad in the past, and I am tempted to do so, and it might happen by accident. And I won't apologize for it, that I can guarantee. Alright, first pilot in the base for In Control, nice and standard, but let's see what he's got planned on this map. There are so many different strategies that you can put into play, and this map is very much unexplored at this point. I mean, there's so many things you can do that people simply haven't tried to do yet. For instance, gaining access to the gold minerals, which is a cool way of doing things, but it does unfortunately open a second attack avenue right into your main. Is it worth doing that? You could destroy this generator to open up the bridges in order to gain access to a quick gold. We've seen some players attempt it, but so far, the strategy and the meta on this map is very much undeveloped, so it could end up being pretty much anything going forward. As you can see, the entire map is covered in these neutral missile turrets, known as Slayer of Bad Rallied Overlords, and you don't want to be traveling over that anytime soon. In fact, it's basically impossible to get to the gold base unless you utilize the bridge mechanics. And if you utilize the bridge mechanics, then you put yourself at risk of being hit by the other player who will take advantage of your bridge to go and access your base. Kelazur going for the quick scout here. Interesting. Barracks and gas, so we're going to see Reaper coming out of here, most likely, unless he has another plan. And in the meantime, In Control is building his second pylon just to the side here. And down goes the Cyber Core. So nothing out of the ordinary here for In Control. Doesn't look like he's planning anything too crazy. And by the time the Reaper gets there, which actually takes longer than you might think, it looks like it's a fairly short rush distance, but all of this area is actually shut down, so you've got to go all the way around the side. There should be something on the board to deal with it. So, Reaper opening, it's going to get him some scouting information, but that's really about it. And in fact, honestly, I imagine this SCV is going to get just as much information as the Reaper could have, so maybe not the best idea. He has a look and sees what he can see. Looks like he's going to just try and block off the expansion for the time being. Mothership Core's on the way, though, so that's going to clean that out fairly quickly. Expansion has now begun for our Terran player. Reaper's on the way across the map here. Take a slightly shorter path thanks to the cliffs here, but it's still not exactly ideal. In Control's going to throw down a pylon. Mothership Core's on the way here, so this SCV very well might be dead, and indeed it is, and it's going to die pretty much as fast as you possibly can. This engineering base is still going to be a little bit of a problem, especially since that's the only defensive unit, and this Reaper's going to get something done. And it really shouldn't have been able to do that. But he needed to kill that engineering base. So that's a nice little move there by Kelazur. That's 2 probes killed by that Reaper. More than you would have expected, frankly. That's now going to be driven away. Nexus is now down. I'm going to see factory placed here by Kelazur as well. I don't know what tech In Control is going to choose from here. He's playing a fairly economically focused opening, but he is sort of forced to get himself a Stalker to try and drive this Reaper away that has been a colossal pain in the arse up to this point. Now the Stalker's out and that Reaper's going to have to leave. But it leaves alive. So, nice little move there by Kelazur, getting more damage done than was to be expected, I think, from that maneuver. In the meantime, Robo Bay coming down here for In Control. One has to wonder what he's going to try and do. Observers are a bit of a pain to use on this map. Not impossible, but you've got to travel all the way around here rather than flying directly to your opponent's base with them. We'll see if he decides to go with that. We've got a Widow Mine on the way, plus a Starport potential drop coming out here from Kelazur. He's going to scout yet again, and he gets his information. He gets the click on the Robo facility. And there's a Forge follow-up here as well from In Control, so he's just playing hyper-defensive right now. Looks like he has no interest in attacking whatsoever. He's going to try and be as defensive as possible. And it's not a bad map to be defensive on, really, is it? Because we've talked about drop potential, but really, what kind of drop potential is there on a map that is covered in neutral missile turrets? It's a bit harder to get a drop in, it takes a bit longer, there are less avenues of attack. All of these are good things for a defensive Protoss player, so I think this is probably the right kind of call here, utilizing the features of the map against the Terran, forcing the Terran to come to him, and if you think about it, there's really not that many ways to do it. You're most likely going to be coming through this particular direction here, just kind of flying around here, because any other flight path is going to take you right through the turrets. That's not going to work out too well for you. So far, so standard, however. We've got a little push across the map here from Kelazur. No upgrades as of yet on those Marines, so they're not exactly too intimidating. A photon overcharge will drive them away. Which is why I think In Control's build is not too shabby here, frankly, but it looks like Kelazur will be gearing up for some more damage. He's got a couple more Widow Mines on the way, and bear in mind, the defense is minimal here from In Control, who's been playing as economically as possible up to this point. He's got a decent amount of probes. He's been teching up pretty heavily. There's the Observer, and he's definitely going to need that. Uh-oh, Mothership Core getting caught out, but there's no stim on those Marines, so the Mothership Core's not really at risk, and that's a huge probe pull right there from In Control. A little bit surprising. And he actually ends up having to use his Photon Overcharge in the back there. Pulls all of his probes away, but he does kill the Medevac, which is not too bad, but still, 7 probes go down here, and the Mothership Core is dead. There's the second Photon Overcharge going down, so this army will die, certainly. The second Widow Mine is primed and ready to fire, so In Control's going to have to eat that. 12 probes now killed. The probes have gone back to mining, and he's lost a bunch more as well. That really shouldn't have done the damage that it did. I'm kind of surprised that it managed it. Uh-oh. Does he know the second Widow Mine's there? I have to wonder. I certainly hope he knows about it, because it is sitting there right there. Yeah, he does see it. There, the shot goes off. 16 workers killed, and In Control isn't even back to work yet. So this is... I mean, that push did so much damage. Really more damage than it had any right to. And the investment from Kelazur was minimal. Going to lose those 2 Widow Mines finally, but 16 probes killed. The economic advantage of In Control just evaporated. And what's he got aside from that? I mean, he's going into Colossus right now, but his economy isn't really up to supporting that. This is maybe the kind of time when you would want to start chrono boosting out some units, but he's going to have to chrono boost out some probes to make up for that loss. There's a very powerful push there from Kellezer, and really it shouldn't have been. Actually kind of surprised that he made the move that he did. It was nice that he managed to kill the medevac, don't get me wrong. But I have to wonder if it would have been a better idea just to pop that photon overcharge immediately down here and then just force field it off and try to deal with it that way. The thing is, there were some Marines in the mix along with those winter mines, so one way or the other it was a bit of a tricky drop to deal with. So much damage though, so much damage done. Here comes the drop in pretty much the one area that it can be. In Control is not really prepared for it. No photon overcharges available here. And bear in mind, he's been doing all of this with no stim, which is really quite impressive. Down goes a sentry. Just precision work here by Kellezer. Takes the shields off the mothership core as well. Another sentry dies. There are finally enough stalkers to push that back, but bear in mind, he just took 2 sentries for nothing there. So that was bargain basement level there from Kellezer. 51 SCVs to 44 probes. Looks like the Terran player really has everything going for him. He scans the middle just to make sure that his opponent hasn't gone there, and he has not. I mean, there's really nothing special going on in Control's side at the moment. He's looking to try and get Colossus out on the field, which is fine, but he's doing it off an economic deficit. There's a third base going down here for Kellezer. No sign of a threat coming out of In Control here at all. Another drop. Kellezer just finding those little pockets where he can get in. There is now a mothership core with a photon overcharge, so it should be able to drive this away, but, I mean, even if this is invested just to kill probes, this is good, but Kellezer is driven away. Just a single probe killed. And In Control is going to have to deal with this massive parade push here. I mean, just look at the army supply. It's heavily in favor of the Terran. In Control is putting up a base that is going to die. I don't think it's going to be able to hold that. There's only one Colossus on the field. Extended Thermal Lance is not done yet, and by the time this hits, oh, this is not the time to go out. Absolutely not. In Control needs to sacrifice that base and pull back immediately. He needs to think about other ways of actually harassing here, because he can't hold this. Absolutely not. There are too many units, and he does realize that, and he's pulling back into a defensive posture here. But the problem with In Control playing defensively is that he has no way of stopping this third base from mining. So we've got an economic advantage, and here's the attack, and In Control doesn't have anywhere near enough units to fight this. I'm very surprised he went for it, and that's GG. Kellezer sort of just rolling all over In Control there. Not really a close fight from the EG Protoss player there, unfortunately. That is the wrong button. There we go. That is the right button. There we go. So, impressive performance there by Kellezer, a little bit lackluster by In Control, unfortunately. The defensive strategy seemed like a good idea at the time, but even while defending, he lost so much to just a small drop and push move there by Kellezer. Put him so far behind, and that left Kellezer confident to take a third base. And once that third base was taken, well, that pretty much was it. Because there was no way for In Control to expand. He didn't have an option like, say, DTs. He wasn't able to use Blink Stalkers or Zealot Run-bys to do damage. He was just bottled in his base there. Well, there you go. Alright, the first match of the day goes there to the Root side, and our next match will be the 2v2. Xenocider and Suppy will take on Hydra and Aigers on Ice Realm. We'll be back after that. Don't go anywhere. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ice Realm. It's my pleasure to bring you E.G. Suppy in the red trunks with his teammate, E.G. Xenocider, representing evil geniuses. Versus their opponents from Team Root, we have Aigers in the baby blue playing Terran, and his teammate Hydra in the purple trunks playing Zerg. Okay, I have no idea what to expect from these two. I know exactly what to expect from these two. They're good when it comes to 2v2. Very good indeed. They've practiced together. They're a well-oiled machine. Aigers and Hydra, that's a little bit unusual. We usually see Aigers and Patreus as the 2v2 lineup. Actually, deploying Hydra in the 2v2 is a little bit strange. Usually don't see the Koreans from the foreign teams coming into the 2v2. They're usually used in other ways. You know, the stronger 1v1 competitors, but 2v2 has historically very much been a foreigners game. And I'm interested to see how much Hydra has had the opportunity to do anything. I certainly hope so. Certainly hope they've had the opportunity to practice. Suppy is going to do the same thing that I actually saw him do previously, which is he will build an extractor for the Terran plane. You might think, well, why on earth would he do that? It speeds things up just a little bit for the Terran. It lets them get their gas up just a little bit quicker. Bearing in mind they're sharing resources, and one is most likely feeding the other, so it looks like they're going to probably try to go for slightly earlier Hellions there. And if it ends up being, say, a Hellion Speedling opening, then Suppy doesn't really need a huge amount of gas. But he will take, of course, a second hatchery. That is required. I'll have to see when he decides to take his gas. In the meantime, we've got Hydra just playing fairly standard, along with Igers, who's elected to go the more traditional route here. And he's going to start with the wall off. Now, you will notice you have to wall off 2 separate areas in order for your base to be secure. So that's something they're going to have to consider. Early aggression with Hellion Ling is very common for a Terran and Zerg composition. Usually works pretty well. There's no reason not to at least try it. With a reactor coming up here, it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. And the timing is going to be just a little bit earlier as a result of this maneuver. It's a little small optimization of the build that really only works in 2v2. It's really cool to see something like that. Subby's going to save his Overlord here, looks like. Igers is not going to be able to... Oh, there you go. Subby finally found a spot where he can actually hide. Yep. Out of sight, out of mind. No worries there. Igers also going for a factory, but look how much later it is in comparison. Look at how much later that is. There's the reactor going down, so he will be getting Hellions, but Xenocide is being fed, basically, and he's got Hellions already on the way. Basically, he's able to produce Hellions about half a minute before his opponent, which is really quite impressive when you think about it. Starport on the way as well, so we could be seeing a little bit of drop action. The question is, what is Suppy planning on doing? Well, he is mining, so it looks like it will be the Hellion Speedling opening. There's currently a nice big defensive hole that they can exploit down to the bottom of the root player's base. So we will certainly see how that turns out. I would imagine fairly well. There's the switcheroo, and Iger's starting to get his Hellions out, but bear in mind that Xenocide already has 2 and is about to have 4, so he'll have a pretty significant lead. Now, Hydra is going up to lair, so this looks like it's going to be a case of how long can Hydra and Igers survive without taking too much damage, and then they can maybe get a tech advantage over their opponent. Nice Queen Wall off there by Hydra, though, realizing, uh-oh, there's a potential vulnerability there. And it looks like they're going to try and knock on the front door, which is not going to result in anything particularly good. They can do some damage, but they can't really make their way through there. So far, this early aggression has been deflected, but Xenocide is going to back this up with a Banshee, whereas Hydra is going very, very greedy on the drones. It looks like Root believes they're currently safe for the time being. Are they correct in that assumption? Kinda, yeah, sure. But you've always got to bear in mind that defenses can be overwhelmed, especially by large numbers of, well, stuff, which is what's coming in his direction. Suppy is acting as a bank right now. He's not building any units whatsoever. And Xenocide is able to secure the map. He's got more Hellions on the way, and his Banshees are on the way over here as well. I have to wonder if they'll attempt to take additional bases behind this, because they've gained full map control up to this point. But so far, no sign of that. We've got the Spire on the way here for Hydra, nice and early. So it's going to get to the point where these Hellions are not going to really do that much. Once the Mutalisks are out, that's really going to be about it. And unfortunately, the visibility has been rapidly driven away because that Banshee just got smacked around by the Vikings. So far, the Root players are doing exactly what they need to do in order to actually counter this. Looking solid. No problems there at all from them. And they're going to roll out with their own force. Maybe not the best idea, but they get a couple of good engagement shots here. But there's so many more Hellions here for Xenocide. So if I were Igers, I maybe wouldn't want to engage that too heavily. The Spire is almost done. Roach Warren on the way here as well. And Igers will continue to be the sole aggressor in this matchup. Decent flank, but not really good enough. With Marines backing it up, Igers was able to drive that away. And down goes that Overlord. question is, what else are we going to see? There's an Overseer coming across just to have a look around, and it looks like we're going to see Muta versus Muta at some point. Both players going for the Spire here, but Hydra with the more greedy opening, able to get his out a little bit faster. The nice little metamorphosis going on from Hydra. That's not going to be good enough, though. That is actually going to die before it switches over to an Overseer, so that's a little bit of a nasty loss there. He does cancel it just before it does that, so he doesn't want to lose too many resources. Expansion comes behind this for Xenocider. Also an expansion for Igers as well. We're going to have a little bit of a skirmish in the center here, but nothing too serious so far. Looks like we're going to be going into a slightly longer game here. There's the expansion coming up for Suppy as well. So currently one base ahead for the EG players, which is great. That's really what they need to be looking for here. But the concern is the inability to deal with these air units here from Team Root, who have a couple of Vikings and some Mutalisks in the mix, but there's 11 coming out here from Suppy, so he's been saving his gas and has probably been fed gas as well by his teammate. So Suppy will have the upper hand here, and he's able to jump right on top of that Viking from Igers and kill it immediately. So if Hydra goes in here, he may have a few problems, but we're going to need to see Suppy gather up all of his units here. Not just some, he's going to need all of them if he wants to fight this. In he comes, and he dives right on top of the Mutalisks, gets 2, and it looks like he's also going to get the Viking out of that as well, so minimal losses here for Suppy, and he continues with air dominance. And if this becomes an arms race between Hydra and Suppy, this should be an arms race that Suppy can win. He's going to have a significant lead in terms of Mutalisk count, and we're going to have to see Igers provide perhaps some ground support in the form of a lot of Marines, or perhaps going into Thor production. As it stands, though, I say that EG does have the... They don't have an economic lead, because Xenocide has really been cutting a lot of SCVs in favor of getting units out, but they do have this dominance, this air dominance, which is hopefully going to give them an advantage going forward here. And Xenocide's Banshee is able to come in. Very badly injured Viking, taking a couple of pot shots, and look at the amount of Hellion Xenocider has. That is a big run by. And it might even be enough when backed up with all of these other units to actually do the damage. It's going to be quite close here. There is a tank in the mix, and it looks like EG does not necessarily want to fight that. And I don't really blame them either, with a lot of Mutas on the way here, and a bunch of Marines backing this up. This is not a fight that EG wants to be a part of, and they're going to have to roll backwards. In the meantime, Igers and Hydra are going to push across the map and maybe attempt to lay siege. I'm not sure if they've got quite enough units to do it. It's currently 18 versus 16 Mutalisks. It's not a big difference. The Hellions come in and take yet more damage, really not getting too many effective shots off at this point. And round we go. Suppy's going to produce 12 more Mutalisks. That could really be the breaking point here. We're going to have to see something. We're going to need to see that big run by. There it is. Hellion's getting right into the mix to deal with those Marines. And now the huge Mutalisk advantage for Suppy comes into play. Crushes the attacking army. Nice maneuvers there by EG. Not overcommitting. Realizing, yeah, look, we've got a timing window here that we can take advantage of. We've just got to hold them off long enough to be able to exploit that. And now Suppy moving across the map with a significant air advantage. 32 Mutas versus 16. That's looking pretty tasty. I mean, that base is potentially forfeit here if Suppy decides to go in, and I hope he does. There's a Spore. And, of course, we have a Queen here, but there are certainly enough numbers here for Suppy to go in. I just don't think he wants to commit quite yet. Igers bringing in reinforcements by Medevac. Looks like 16 Marines to back that up, and Suppy continues to build the upgrades, and he's very much building against Marine and building against Muta by going for that armor upgrade, and he's slightly behind in terms of that armor upgrade, but not by much. Oh, nice snipe on the building CC. Grabs himself a free tank and a free Medevac as well. Suppy Muta control looking great. In the meantime, what is Xenocider doing? Well, he's mostly producing Marines. He's actually got very few units here. I think he's actually feeding Suppy at this point to increase the amount of Mutalisks. I mean, the amount of Mutas on the field here is unholy, and the only reason that he's able to do that, I think, is because he's getting fed a ton of gas from his Terran teammate, and it's working out so far. That said, I mean, look at the amount of Mutas and look at how you can defend against that. Thors will work well. I'd like to see a lot of Widowmines coming out here. Widowmine AoE would probably be the most effective way to deal with this number of Mutalisks. I mean, he's about to top 50, which is a huge amount. I mean, it's way, way more than Hydra's got, and it's even enough to take out the number of Marines on the ground. So, this is looking interesting. There's some Marines coming in to back this up here. Another base coming down for Hydra. Can Hydra actually hold it? If Suppy wants to commit, I don't think Hydra holds that base under any circumstances, really. And it looks like he wants to commit, and he's going to be able to destroy this base, no problem at all. There's no Marines to back him up on the ground, and there's so many Mutas, and Hydra just doesn't have the numbers here. The feed continues. In the meantime, however, Hydra decides... Oh, he tries to go for a run-by and actually gets walled off here by the force fields that just come into play. Looks like he might try and get a cancel on that, but I don't think he's got the numbers for it. And Suppy is bringing a few units back to try and defend against this. But that has given the Root team a little bit of an opportunity to expand and actually gain some control of their own side of the map. Look at that, 55 mutas and more on the way. And he's about to kick in on +2 flyer carapace as well. That's pretty huge. The Marine upgrades for Igers are not great either, so mutas are going to be way, way more effective against Marines than they should be at this stage. Oh, wow. They're all going to get slaughtered. The Bouncing Glaives take most of those units out very, very easily. There's the push coming in, and if this is about, is it fight time? It looks like it might be, and Suppy is committing with a large number of units. I certainly don't blame him. He's got the units to make this work. This should be a win in this fight here for EG. The question, I suppose, is to what cost? There's a lot of Marines in the mix here, 39 to 37, and by the looks of it, the Root team is sacrificing Marines to try and gain a Mutalisk advantage, and they're just not quite able to get it. Suppy just has the numbers to make this work. I mean, it's a huge loss, don't get me wrong, here for EG, but it looks like they will win this fight. Only just, though. I mean, God, the amount of damage done. And this tank's been sitting in the back getting 27 kills here, not being focused down at all, because Suppy's been too busy trying to deal with the Mutla count. And now everything's sort of evened out, but the losses are huge here for Suppy. Absolutely massive. Now, Xenocide has been feeding him, but I have to say at this point, I think the game's kind of evened out with that commitment there. He sacrificed so many Mutalisks to make that fight work. Suppy now with Lings on the ground, looking to do a few run-bys here, and more mutas being put into the fray. He needs to keep that Mutalisk advantage, but it seemed to me like his big muta advantage was what was going to work there, and after he lost it, I'm not entirely sure that this is going to be quite as effective. Marines now moving in, they're going to do some damage to this muta cloud, but not a huge amount. It's going to get picked off quite easily here by Hydra, but every Mutalisk counts, and it's 33 versus 17 right now. So, if we can see another really good fight from EG with the enhanced Mutaflock, then that might do the job. So many units killed on both sides right now. Big losses. Medevac's actually being moved in to heal the Mutalisks. You can do that. There's a quick little run-by here by Hydra. I'm liking the fact that he's doing that. Trying to cripple the economy of Xenocider, who it has absolutely been feeding his Zerg teammate here. There's a hidden base over the side here from Suppy that hasn't been scouted as of yet. And this base is taking a decent amount of damage. But the thing is, Suppy's economy is in a really good state right now, so I don't even know if he actually needs Xenocider. And there's the drop coming in as well. He's trying to focus fire. He would love to bring that down, but that's not going to happen. And Xenocider is going to lose those units pretty comprehensively. Tanks deployed in position to defend this base, and this Ling run-by is made somewhat less effective as a direct result of that. Currently, we're looking at a 46 versus 29 muta cloud. Will Suppy be able to do the damage with that? I certainly think so. I mean, this Ling run-by is going to be completely shut down. This base looks like it is under a great deal of threat. And with Marines on the ground to back this up as well, this should be an easy victory for Evil Geniuses on what looks to be the 4th base here of Hydra, and down it goes. No real damage taken here either, and Hydra wisely deciding not to engage. That is a lot of dead stuff. Huge amounts of resources put into play here by EG in order to sort of brute force their way through. And so far it's working. They've taken another side base away from Hydra, and they're still looking for an engagement opportunity. I'm a bit worried, though. Aegis now has some slightly better Marines, and he's got Thors backing this up as well. So unless Xenocider has good ground forces, which he currently now does, I mean, he's got as many Marines as his opponent, the engagement with the mutas here could be somewhat risky. And he's not bringing all of his units into play. This is just insane. It's hard to call a fight of this size. With the Thors in play, though, and that many Marines, the mutas should go down like rocks, and they did. They focused fire on the mutas. All the mutas are dead. That was like 50 mutas gunned down. And bear in mind, Xenocider didn't engage with all of his Marines there, so Aegis had the perfect anti-mutalisk force, and suddenly Xenocider has no defense because his opponent, his teammate, just got absolutely gutted. Lost all of his mutalisks, and suddenly Aegis and Hydra march into the base, and yeah, there's plenty of Marines there, but I mean, he just lost 5,000 gas worth of mutalisks. Can he even rebuild that at this point? Bear in mind that Hydra held on to most of his. That was an inadvisable engagement there by the EG players, and Root is taking full advantage of it, destroying everything they possibly can, and now air supremacy fully in the hands of the Root team, and I think this is going to be it, frankly. There's the run-by coming in, but what is it going to get done? Very little. I mean, there's reinforcements around the back, and damage is being done here to the tech structures and production, and Igers is just moving in and destroying everything that he possibly can, and it was a great composition. Hey, bunch of Marines, a bunch of Thors, and some Mutalisks properly controlled, versus the EG team that just kind of ran into a wall of bullets. And I think this is going to be about it. Xenocide is not going to get much done here. He pushes across the map and gets rid of a base. In fact, the base that might actually be saved by the looks of it. But Xenocider has been completely wiped off the map here. And I think this is going to be game by the looks of it. It's 38 supply for Xenocider, whereas you see Hydra on 116 and Igers on 127. Really nice moves. Very patient play here. It looked for a great deal of this match that EG actually had the edge, but it turns out no. One really bad engagement, one excellent engagement there for Root, and everything melts. I'm very surprised they even took that fight. I mean, Xenocider didn't even have most of his units there. That would have made that fight a lot better, but what I think was more important was that we saw a lot of focused fire, and of course the Thor support on the ground was absolutely devastating there. And GG, Root takes another game in this best of 7 series. Really nice play there by Hydra and Igers. I have no doubts anymore in the team of Hydra and Igers. Absolutely not. It's usually Igers and Betrayus, but evidently Hydra knows what he's doing. Great play there by Igers. And EG had an idea. They had a strategy going into this, but it just didn't work out. And I think that the best way they could have used that Mutalisk advantage was to be taking bases very, very rapidly. Just kill as many as you can. I think they waited too long. They gave the Root team an opportunity to build up the appropriate counter, and then Root just took an excellent fight, and that, as they say, was that, because all the eggs were really in one Mutalisk-shaped basket there for EG. Alright, it's currently 2-0 in favor of Root. Our next game in this best of 7 series is going to be an Engines War. It's going to be Suppy taking on Hydra in a Zerg versus Zerg. We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Engines of War, new and improved. It's my pleasure to bring you Evil Genius as Suppy and the Blue Trunks playing Zerg. Is that a... That's a Murloc. That looks like a... That's got to be a Murloc logo right there. Where'd he get that from? He's playing to the southwest versus his opponent, who is currently up 2-0 for Team Root in the northeast position. In the Red Trunks playing Zerg, it is Hydra. Okay, the Draken Cannon is the big feature of this particular map. It's now called the Protoss Destroyer, as it turns out. I believe it actually got its damage slightly buffed, so it can one-shot a roach now. It didn't used to be able to do that. But there have been a few changes made to the way that this map works. And when you click the Draken Cannon, you can now see the range of it. So you can see it goes all the way to here. You also have them marked on the map, which is nice. That's very helpful. And they cannot be controlled by air anymore. So if these guys have not practiced this map, bear in mind this was updated over a week ago, so there were plenty of opportunities for them to practice this map. If they did not practice the map, then they are in some serious trouble. And Suppy looks like he may... Oh, he manages to keep away just at the right time.
Game paused.
Okay, we've got to pause here. Anyway, I can keep telling you about this. This will still hit air, but it can't be controlled by air anymore. It was obviously giving a very distinct advantage to the Zerg player. So that has been altered to make sure that we don't get nothing but ZVZ on this match. Before that, Overlords were able to take control. So, looks like we're ready to go. Yep, okay, cool. Overlords were able to take control of it and were very difficult to take down in the early game. That has now since been changed. Will Suppy be able to take this away? He is able to neutralize it. There we go. So we're going to see a little bit of a scrap going on here. And you got to watch out. This is a big game of chicken because... if you retreat and the opponent takes control of the cannon, your drone's probably going to die. As may very well your Overlord, so watch yourself. Uh-oh, control has been taken. Oh yeah, it's got new special effects as well, by the way. If I recall correctly, it also fires a little bit quicker. That's a really cool effect now, look at this thing. Yeah, so people who thought we nerfed the cannon, we didn't necessarily. We made it fire slightly quicker, and now it looks awesome. So Hydra lost his drone, and he lost his Overlord, which is the big risk, of course, of this cannon. Hydra looks like he's going to send out another drone in order to try and take that out. And he might be able to take it. If Suppy has not practiced this map, he's about to realize that Overlords can't take control of this anymore. And there we go. But there's a ton of Lings on the way out here. Suppy's actually pulling drones. Wow, this is all in here from Suppy. He's going to take full control, bringing in just everything he's got here. Kills the drone on the way. And now he's going to go and attack his opponent, just with everything he's got. He's leaving bare minimum units at home. So this is cheesy as all hell here from Suppy, but it might do the job. His opponent has no defensive units. Looks like this was the right call. Bringing drones along as well. He can build a spine crawler. This is the kind of move that I used to use in Zerg vs. Zerg, because I hated the matchup so much. But Suppy's already in Hydra's base. How good is Hydra's micro? I guess we're about to find out. 2 drones already picked off, so rapidly this is falling to pieces here for Hydra. And any attempt to run across the other side of the map is going to be deflected, of course, by the cannon. So, Suppy's move is working pretty well. The spines are almost complete. How on earth is Hydra supposed to push this back? One spine is cancelled, but the second one will finish. And once that's up, what on earth are you going to do? He's trying his best to keep mining and just sort of hopping between the 2 bases here and trying his might as best he can to hold on. He's about to lose his drone advantage, though, and a lot of drones are dying on the front line here. Suppy's okay with sacrificing a few. It's currently 10 drones to 10. So it's actually more even than it appears. Hydra's actually a base up right now. The spine is doing some damage. He's going to uproot it and he's going to move it down there because, of course, he doesn't want his opponent mining because it might look like Suppy's in a good position. It kind of is the case, but simultaneously, if Hydra's able to continue to mine, he could stay in this game, but the spine's up now. With double spines up, Hydra loses all of his drones immediately. And I think this is going to be game. I mean, it's 2 drones versus 7. Yeah, I think we know who's going to win this one. And there's the GG, and Suppy gets a bit cheeky and puts one on the board here for Evil Geniuses. Well, they don't call them Evil Geniuses for nothing, do they? Absolutely not. Big all-in off the cannon. Nice maneuvers there by Suppy. Well planned out Zerg versus Zerg over in 5 minutes, 48 seconds. And we're going to be moving very rapidly onto our next match, which is going to be on Peninsula. It's going to be a TVT between Igers and Xenocide. We're going to have a short break as I set this up. Unfortunately, I'm not a miracle worker, and I don't have an admin today, so it's all me. I'll be setting this up, and we'll be back with the next game momentarily, folks. Don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Peninsula. It's my pleasure to bring you E.G. Xenocide. He is to the northeast position. In a rather unusual base indeed, he is in the blue trunks playing Terran, versus his opponent also playing Terran. In the red trunks, it is Root Igers, the mighty Australian dwarf. Now, this is a really weird map, as you probably figured out, because every single base has hybrid mineral patches. In other words, half of them are gold, half of them are blue. That increases the amount of earnings that you can get from a single base quite significantly, which means that every timing in this base, just in everything, is completely wrong. Everything you thought you knew about timings, throw it right out of the window. Not to mention that we also have the very unusual situation of the entire map being walled off. There is really only way, well, there's a couple of ways to get across it. There's a little egg here, which unfortunately keeps bugging out on our game harp, working out how to fix that. It'll appear as a white square. It's actually an egg. You can mineral walk right through that egg. Alternatively, you can destroy it, but it has 10 armor and 200 HP, so you better bring something heavier than a marine to do it. So it's quite safe to do an early expand. It is, I believe, possible to get a Reaper across this map in very, very small places. But generally speaking, an early expand on this map is not that risky, although there are potential proxy plays that you can pull off here. In the meantime, what is Igers going to do? Igers obviously has gone for the barracks first, whereas Xenocide went for the CC first. And gas has been mined, so we're going to see a Reaper coming out. Now, you can get extra minerals from here, but you can't get extra gas. These are standard Vespene geysers, so if you're attempting to do anything fancy with tech, you better make damn sure it's mineral heavy, because otherwise you're not going to get very far. Iger's going to have a look around, and it looks like he's probably going to go for a CC as well, I imagine. Seems like the way to go here. He'll be able to get a Reaper out, but simultaneously, will Xenocide actually be able to bring up any defense in the meantime? He's building a second barracks to make up for this fact. But this Reaper could get something done. Xenocide walks across the map through the minerals in the center and is able to get some information. He sees the Reaper, he sees the reactor timing, as well as the CC. So, let's follow the Reaper. As you happen to be children of Bodum fans, will no doubt be celebrating at this point. We're going to follow the Reaper all the way across the map and see exactly where it is that the Reaper can jump over. There is a spot, if I recall correctly, where the Reaper can actually get over to the other side. So it's not as ridiculous as it seems. You'll notice the little white block there. We're trying to fix that. But if you go all the way around the map here, you can hop up this one tiny little cliff space, and that will let you into the base here. Now, there is only one Marine out. But there are a couple of SCVs, of course, trying to pull and deal with this Reaper as well. But some damage could be inflicted here. Let's see if he's able to get one or two. Looks like he is maybe not going to get one at all, actually. But there's a couple of Marines popping out right now. So it looks like Igers is not going to get the damage that he was looking for. He does get the scouting information, though. Not that he really would have expected too much else. The thing is, this was the only way of him knowing that his opponent had gone with this command center first build. So it was important that he scouted in some way, and it was either a Reaper or a Scan. The question is, which do you want? Well, the Reaper is often a better early game option, because at least it gives you some harassment potential as well. It's a unit, whereas a Scan is effectively a mule wasted. Alright. Igers is going to march across the map here, and he is going to find himself the egg. 10 armor. Good luck. It's going to take you a while to knock your way through that. Not impossible, but it will take you a long, long time indeed. But he will start the fire. It's going to probably take him about a minute to break through this egg, but he's bringing a few more Marines in. It's not like it's an impenetrable barrier. Nice pick off there. Igers actually gets himself a unit. I have to wonder if this Reaper is going to get out alive. I guess we're about to find out. Stim on the way here for Xenocider here as well. He goes in, getting a little bit too far in, actually, and ends up getting tricked. Xenocider in with the Marine there, kills the Reaper before he's able to pick off another unit. So nice moves there. Scan coming in from Xenocider, and that's going to spot the Cloak Banshee. I wonder if Igers will decide not to go with that now, and indeed that's exactly what he's going to do. He cancels the Cloak Banshee immediately. It looks like he's switching over to tank play, I would think. Swap around, there we go. I wonder if that was intentional. Probably not. I imagine he was going to try and go for it, but look at what he's done. Like, he's provoked 3 missile turrets out of Xenocider here, which, of course, are going to be completely useless. The egg is now finally down, and Igers can now start to push across the map with a Marine tank force, which should be pretty potent. And Stim's on the way here for Xenocider. No Stim yet for Igers, though. That's what I'm a bit concerned about. I mean, the tanks will certainly help, no doubt about that, but one has to wonder if Igers will be able to make this work. I mean, the 300 mineral investment in the missile turrets here for Xenocider is certainly going to put him back a little bit. And Igers is able to gain a slight advantage in terms of tech as a result. But I have to wonder if a Marine tank play is the best way to go. I guess we're about to find out. One tank done. Now rolling across the map. Actually, in a medevac. It's a nice move. I like that. And, ooh, this is a potential... oh, Igers can go for it now, and he should. Igers has a massive, massive lead in terms of Marines here. Oh, he loses the opportunity. Too late. Man, if he'd moved 10 seconds earlier, he could have killed that contingent of Marines, and that would have probably won him the game right then and there, because it would have been able to cut his opponent's army in half. He's still got a good shot at it. I mean, he's got tanks versus no tanks, which is always nice, but still... he had the opportunity to win the game right then and there and wasn't able to capitalize on it. And there's the Stim coming in. And that's the problem, because Igers does not have Stim. Igers just pulled back at completely the wrong time, and Xenocider takes a full advantage of that. Igers, with the throw there, by the looks of it, I mean, that really should have gone in Igers' favor. Igers could have won the game at that point, but he didn't. And as a direct result, he loses his army and all of his map presence. Xenocider with the key maneuver at just the right time. Great engagement there by Xenocider, perfectly timed out with the Stim. And the advantage of Igers is now thoroughly evaporated. The censored egg is now gone. Single Marine patrolling right here, but now Xenocider is on the attack. Thing is, Xenocider shouldn't get too much done with tanks in the proper position. So Igers is great defensively. What I'd like to see Xenocider do is exactly what he's doing right now, which is expand. Absolutely, why not? Takes a couple of SCVs for free as well, no complaints there, and shuts down the expansion potential of his opponent. Now Xenocider just needs to contain his opponent and starve him out. And I mean, it's not like Aigis can sally forth. He doesn't have stim or combat shields yet. He's basically stuck in his base right now. Unless he wants to go for some kind of drop, he really has no chance whatsoever. And Xenocider knows this. So he's going to take full advantage of it to secure a third. Great moves. Great moves. It's quite surprising, really. Aigis just had such a great opportunity and just wasn't able to capitalize on it. He's going to get his third CC up, but the question is, where's he going to put it? He's probably going to have to put it quite close, I imagine, here, but he's going to also have to break through Xenocider's contain in order to make that happen. Another SCV moves out and gets gunned down immediately. I suppose it's cheaper than a scan, right? If we're looking at the army supply size, it's a significant lead for Xenocider, but those tanks will make the difference. So I imagine that Xenocider will be pushed back here. The question is, how much damage will he take? He's spreading out some Marines here. He sees the force, and I think that if he's sensible, and he is, he picks them immediately and decides to go for a drop. I like this move. There is a sensor tower down, but the natural is potentially vulnerable here. So this is a nice move. The army's currently out of position with none of the tanks deployed. Huge doom drop here coming out of Aigis, but immediately he turns around. And it's great that his forces are in those medevacs, because that means that this damage is going to be minimized. Xenocider, yeah, he's going to get a few workers, certainly, but he has another tank in position. There's the hot pickup here by Xenocider. Oh, lovely moves! Aigis grabs a full medevac. And Xenocider's attack has been thoroughly blunted here. And some more damage will certainly be done. I mean, 7 workers killed is not terrible, but he lost a medevac's worth of units there. And there is the hot pickup by Aigis, who is going for a huge doom drop. And there's no defense here. Xenocider seems to be caught with his pants down. He's attempting to expand his economy. And his in-base defense is minimal. I mean, where are his tanks? He doesn't have any. He's up against 3 tanks in those medevacs, plus a large force of Marine Marauder. Xenocider's in a lot of trouble. Aigis goes for the tank deployment. There's plenty of Marines to defend them. And he has, in fact, 4 tanks here. That is a huge beachhead. That's going to be almost impossible to break, I think. Aigis looking for the defensive drop here to deflect Xenocider's drop, and this is devastating. Xenocider is going to lose his main. There's no doubt about that. He's already lost 11 workers, which is bad enough. He still has a slight worker lead over his opponent. I mean, he is a base up here, but he's about to not be. Orbital command falling. Xenocider desperately trying to find an angle. Oh, he's going to lose the tank as well. He brings the SCVs off the line right into a huge barrage of tank fire. It's not enough. Xenocider doesn't have the units to break it. He might take a tank, but is that really going to matter? He lost his entire army. There's the hot pickup. He drops it right on top of the tanks to just try and do a little bit more damage. It's not enough. He lost most of his workers. There's the GG, and Aigis takes that in dominating fashion after a big slip-up in the early game. A huge slip-up. But what a fantastic defensive play there by Aigis, and the ideal counter drop. Fantastic. Well, EG is flailing in this one. They are currently 3 games to 1 behind. Never a position you want to be in a pro match by any stretch of the imagination. Will they be able to pull it back? We'll find out in the next match, folks, which will be Huck taking on Supernova on Suncross. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Suncross. It's my pleasure to bring you Root Supernova in the red trunks playing Terran to the north versus his opponent to the west position in the blue trunks playing Protoss, the last man standing for evil geniuses. He is Huck. And he's going to have to play his heart out against Supernova, arguably the ace player for Root. Admittedly, I think Hydra has maybe taken that crown lately. That said, Hydra did drop a map to Suppy, the only map so far in the tournament, so perhaps not. We will see. Huck is going to have to pull it out of the bag here if he wants to take it to the Legacy of the Void match with Jaedong, and then hopefully take it to the Ace match at this point, because EG has been floundering. We had Aigis, who has won both of his matches today, both in the 2v2 and the singles. And Kellezer, who put on a very impressive performance. In Control really didn't seem to be kind of on his level at that point. So, I would hope to see better play from Huck. Of course, it is Huck. You generally would expect better play. Alright, let's see what's coming out here. This is a very, very early gas here from Supernova. Really, really early gas. Stupidly early gas. Crazy early gas. There we go. And there's the 13 racks. So, we can expect to see some aggressive opening of some sort. The question is, what kind? Banshee, perhaps? Maybe Cloak Banshee? Could work. We will find out. Here comes a scout here from Huck. This is a very large map with potentially lots of different spawns, so scouting your opponent is difficult, which means that some tech-heavy openings can work quite well as a direct result, and we see quite a few players trying to exploit that. Huck will have to check many different spawn locations. You can't spawn here, and you can't spawn here, but you can pretty much spawn anywhere else, so it's a little harder than most of the regular ladder maps that have more predictable spawning locations. Looks like we're going to see a good scout here from Supernova, though. He's going to go cross-position and start from there. We'll see which direction he goes in, but it looks like he might get the scout immediately, which is reasonable, because Huck's going to get the scout at about the same time here as well. And he's going to see that factory going down pretty early, which makes me wonder. Supernova actually scouts the wrong location, but he will check this one momentarily. Makes me wonder if this gas-heavy opening is really going to make too much of a difference here. What is it going to be? And is he going to go Banshee with it? I mean, that's perhaps the most common thing that you would expect from a Terran. Is Huck going to be prepared for the potential of a Cloaked Banshee? I mean, he's already boosting out a Stalker, of course. We'd need to see a Cloaked Banshee as opposed to a regular Banshee if we expected anything to happen here. Unless he decides to go for something else. This could be a very, very early Widowmine push, potentially. All sorts of things it could be. Let's see if he decides to put down a Starport. There he is. Will we see a Widowmine? Will we see Hellions? We're seeing Widowmine, so it might be an early Widowmine drop. It's going to be a pretty damn early Widowmine drop, frankly. I wonder if Huck will actually go for the Robo before Expand. He might have to. I mean, he scouted that so early. He's like, hang on a minute. That's a really early factory here. We're actually going to see a Stargate. That's a good answer. It's decent enough, anyway. As long as you get an Oracle out of it, you can use that for cloak detection, so that might work. And it looks like it will be, I think, a Widowmine drop coming out of Supernova here. Let's see the second Widowmine built momentarily. No, actually, it's going to be followed up by Hellion. Now, I have seen this a couple of times. It's quite useful because you can use the Hellions to catch the fleeing workers, and you use the Widowmine as the thing to scare them off. So it can work out, and it sometimes works out a little bit better than investing heavily in Widowmine. So looks like we're going to see a Hellion in the mix there. He's going to borrow the Widowmine for the time being defensively, which I do like, considering he's up against the Stargate, but he has a very large base here, you'll notice. So it's very hard to cover it. It's going to be a Phoenix opening here from Huck, which, as it turns out, actually might work out really, really well if you can keep an eye out. That's a great way to shut down drop harassment, to get a few Phoenixes out into the mix, but the question is, will they have enough Phoenixes to make a difference? Because here comes the drop. 1 Widowmine and 6 workers, 6 Marines, sorry, and he's going to be accompanied here by 2 Hellions. So this is a fairly strong opening push, and he's up against a Mothership Core, a Phoenix, and a Stalker. It's going to be a second Phoenix out by the time this drop hits, and looks like the Phoenix is in the right position, but I don't think it's got the firepower to bring this medevac down yet. Nope. I mean, it's going to drop the stuff already. There's the lovely little lift up here from Huck. Nice moves. Kills the Widowmine before it's really able to do anything. So far, this has been blunted quite nicely. There we have the Hellions moving into the mix to try and do some damage, and they don't really get an awful lot done. Phoenix is killed, but that is the drop shut down for all intents and purposes, I think. Going to see a couple of workers die here, but lovely micro here by Huck. Great control, takes the Mothership Core just out of range, and doesn't use Photon Overcharge. He could have been tempted to use it to the latter end of the fight, but he doesn't do it. Another drop coming in with the Medivacs here, but as we are aware, there are Phoenixes on the board, so that might not do the job here. And so far, so ineffectual here for Supernova. Kills a few workers, but doesn't really get much else done. Supernova now moving around the side. He's going to try and get himself a Widowmine drop, and he should be able to do a little bit of damage with it. The question is how much, and in the meantime, however, we're going to see the push across by Huck, who is keeping an eye out here with his Phoenix. He doesn't have enough Phoenix to really get anything done, but this push towards the front very well might. Ooh, Zealot eats it, and his second Zealot also takes significant damage here as well. Here's the Widowmine drop as the push goes into the main base. We'll keep an eye in the corner as to how much damage is actually done here. And Huck does lose 4 probes, so that was a good enough drop. Huck is a little bit focused on trying to kill his opponent right now, and he's got a good aggressive push going in. There's a Banshee on the way here, but Supernova doesn't actually have that much else. So damage is going to be done. He's trying to... Oh, lovely lift just as it gets into the ground there. Another Widow Mine coming out, tries to focus fire. There's another lift, so these Widow Mines are proven to be ineffective. So it's a nice use of the Phoenix there, and Supernova has to tap out. Lovely moves by Huck. Very well played. Really nothing wrong with Huck's play there whatsoever. It was effectively flawless, and that means that EG are able to close the gap just a little bit here. 3 games to 2, and they're going to put their fate in the hands of Jaedong, who will be playing versus Kiwi Kaki on Legacy of the Void. It's going to take us a few minutes to get that set up, folks, so please do bear with us. Legacy of the Void, Jaedong versus Kiwi Kaki after the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a black screen. Every bloody time. There we go. Problem solved. I keep having to switch between the applications, and I keep selecting the wrong one because I'm a moron. Here we go, folks. I present to you E.G. Jaedong. He is in the blue trunks. He is playing Zerg to the southeast of Echo LE of Legacy of the Void versus his opponent to the northwest position. A little bit of self-awareness here from Kiwi Kaki, aka Washed Up Nub. He is in the yellow trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the northwest. All right. We get to see Jaedong play. Jaedong is, I think, amongst all of the players in Clan Wars, the least successful. He has lost every single match he's gone into in every season, either by forfeit or by simply just losing straight up. So I hope this will be the first time when he's able to pull off a spectacular win for us. That will be great. Kiwi Kaki with the double gateway opening. Interesting. Of course, this is Legacy of the Void. Anything can happen. No one has any idea what is to be expected here out of Kiwi Kaki. We know he's getting back into the game. We know he was, of course, a great innovator within the Wings of Liberty period. He was actually competitive in the Wings of Liberty period. These days, of course, he's been retired for a long time, so really we don't know how good he is, if at all. I guess we're about to find out. There's a scout coming across the map here on Echo, and he's able to determine that Jaedong has indeed expanded, and is going to take another expansion as well. Jaedong getting a little bit greedy against double gateway. That's potentially risky. Who expects the Adept? Do we expect the Adept? Because I expect the Adept. Do you expect the Adept? It's the Adept. There we go. There's your double gateway Adept opening right here from Washed Up Nub. And the question is, will this 3-hatch opening from Jaedong be vulnerable to units? The answer is yes, it will. Jaedong needs to strongly consider getting a Roach Warren pretty damn quickly. Or a lot of Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings. These Adepts are going to be very dangerous, and he's also using the ability to boost them across the map at exceptional speeds. See this? See how fast these damn things can move across the map? They'll warp right into this location. He's also going to back them up by the looks of it with a pylon. So this harassment could be dangerous. We're going to need to see queens. Lots and lots of queens. Here are the 2 adepts, and it's only going to be a double adept opening. Nothing too special that. And I love this move. Look at this. Look how cool this is. He's going to warp them. Oh, no, he's not. What on earth happened there? That's weird. That's really strange. I thought he was going to warp them right into his opponent's base, but apparently he didn't. His micro so far has been pretty good, and the warp should work right about now. There we go. So now he's able to warp right into the base and is able to do some damage. And these things do pick off drones at a very fast pace. Oh, that adds to the wrong location, but so far so good on the harassment here with Washed Up Nub, who is going to lose 1 adept by the looks of it. He's trying his best to get away here. Here comes the surround, and the adepts both die. How much damage done? Enough. I mean, 12 units lost here, traded for 2 adepts. That's not too shabby. I would say that did the damage. That really slowed down the Zerg player. And bear in mind, Jaedong is on 3 bases and only on 21 drones, so that worked well, and he's got more adepts on the way as well, so he's going to attempt that even more. It's a nice little maneuver. It's a really nice piece of opening harassment that was not well dealt with there by Jaedong. And it's now moving his lings in, but what's he going to find? Death, mostly. Adepts are incredibly good at killing Zerglings. They're very, very powerful. They do 23 damage versus light. So you can wall off with these damn things, and you're going to kill Zerglings at a pretty damn rapid rate. Almost as well, in fact, better perhaps than Zealots. I mean, the Adept is just good now. They buffed it. So it's 90-90. So that's 180 total hit points versus the 150 of a Zealot. It does 23 damage versus light. It has a very slow attack. So the Zealot, DPS-wise, is better, but the Adept is much, much stronger than it was previously now. So, pretty damn tough. And now it's a safe wall-off here for Kiwikaki, after doing significant damage. I want to see a double Adept warp in here at the front here as well, and the Oracle on the way as well, so let's see what damage he can do. Looks like that was, however, predicted by Jaedong, who's going for Spore Crawlers here. We'll see how much he can actually cover with them. There's still potential damage and pickups that could be got with this Oracle, but it's going to be certainly deflected quite well, I think, by Queens and Spore Crawlers. I don't expect too much damage to be done. Let's see what Kiwikaki can do. He's actually focusing on the Queen, which doesn't work, as you can see. He's weakened it a little bit, but really you need 2 Oracles if you want to try and pull that off. Unless, of course, he attempts to move his Adepts across the map, and it looks like he's going to move his Adepts to the 3rd base in order to defend it. And so far, so good. Jaedong really has got no tech out whatsoever. He's now working on Hydras, since he's got his lair going. So we'll see how they do. But outside of that, he hasn't really got a huge army, hasn't really got much done. But he's been able to sit comfortably on 3 bases without too much harassment. But here come the Oracles, and some damage will be done, but not a lot. Yeah, these so far for the investment of the Oracle, yeah, it gets the Scout and sees the Hydra Den, but that's unfortunately a sad realization there for Kiwikaki that he won't be able to get much done with those either. And the Adept stuck in defensive positions. So, I mean, really, what are these getting done? Not much. Void Ray coming in as well, but I mean, really, again, it's a Hydra Den. It's a Hydra Den on the way up. So, I'm not 100% convinced by... He's actually doubling down on the airplay here. With, I mean, the Adepts will kill the... Will this work? It might. And think about it for a second. These do 23 damage versus light. That's a significant amount. They're going to do like 25 with the ground weapon upgrade. How fast will that kill Hydras? Pretty quickly. It's going to be a lurker play here from Jaedong, though, by the looks of it, so maybe that won't even be relevant. If you combine some airplay with some Adepts, you might be able to kill a Hydra-specific force. Although I'm a bit concerned about the lurkers. They might do significant damage. It's 9 Hydras on the way up, but I mean, Hydras are not that tough, as you're probably well aware. They're only 80 hit points each, so you're going to be one-shotting Hydras with a group of, what, 4 Adepts? It's going to work pretty well. Unless my calculations are off. Yeah, you'd need 4 Adepts, I think, to one-shot a Hydralisk. But that's still pretty good. Now, you can chew your way through Hydras pretty fast. Void Ray is now out. 3rd base is established here. No attempt at a 4th base as of yet. Oh, nice catch there by Jaedong. Gets 1 and almost gets the 2nd. I say those Oracles are not long for this world, but 8 Adepts and 2 Void Rays right now is the force here for Kiwikaki. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Ooh, nice use of that. It's probably the best thing he can do, really, is to envision there. These do 25 damage now. So, you're looking at 4 shots to kill a Hydralisk. That should work. I mean, he's got a lot of Adepts. He's got enough Adepts to kill 2 Hydras every throw, so... I don't know, this might be effective. And it's not like Void Rays die fast to Hydras. They're pretty tough. I have to wonder how many Lurkers it's going to put into play, though. Bear in mind, his only detection is a single Oracle. This Lurker play could shut this down quite nicely. But with proper detection and not a lot of anti-air, then the Lurkers are going to get shut down as well. So here we go. Let's see how effective this army actually is. It is Sentry Adept. I like that composition. I mean, you're taking a good chunk of DPS away from the Hydras by using Guardian Shield there. This army is strong, and he's got Void Rays in the air as well here. It's really down to the Lurkers. Will this Oracle survive? Will it be able to actually keep an eye on the Lurkers? Is he going to lose all of his Adepts before it starts? Oh, Jaedong used Hold Micro. He used Hold Micro on the Lurkers and then unleashed them at the best possible moment to crush the Adept force. I think Jaedong's playing Brood War here. And you know what? It's working really well. The Hydras come behind it. Are there enough Hydras to kill this many Void Rays? I mean, you'd think that there should be. The Adept's dying here. Oh, that was so cool. He actually held the Lurkers and unleashed them at the best possible moment for maximum damage. That is so fantastic. Another Void Ray comes down, and Jaedong decimates that army. What a beautiful engagement. Absolutely fantastic. And now he is on the offense. Admittedly, he's up against a lot of Void Rays, though, so he's got to watch out. And there are more Adepts on the ground here as well to try and deal with the Hydras, but it's so difficult for those Adepts to get in range. The Lurkers outrange the Adepts significantly, and now the Hydras are able to get in and get several good shots off, killing multiple Void Rays. And Jaedong is now rolling his way into the base here. That is... What an engagement there by Jaedong. His back is defended here by Lurkers that are going to decimate those units. And I think this is going to be it here for Kiwi Kaki. Lovely play. There's the GG, and Jaedong brings it to the ace match with a fantastic fight. What an engagement there from EG Jaedong. Perfect. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? Absolutely not. Well, it seems like Jaedong's been playing quite a little bit of Legacy of the Void. Either that or he's just taken his Brood War skills and applied them here. Fantastic hold there. Just making sure that those units didn't fire until the best possible time. And then pop. Half the army just gets obliterated immediately as they get too damn close. I bet Kiwi Kaki's wishing he built a bloody observer at this point. Alright, folks, it is the ace match. Every team gets 5 minutes to come up with their ace. And we will be playing the ace match in about 5 or 6 minutes' time here on SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. What a move there for Jaedong. And he brings it to the ace match. We'll be back after the break to find out who it will be. Don't go anywhere. You're watching SHOUTCraft Clan Wars, brought to you by MLG TV. If you want to know when the next SHOUTCraft Clan War is, do feel free to check out the thread over at Team Liquid's tournament forum. And of course, click the follow button on MLG.tv to be alerted via the smartphone app as to when the next show goes live. We'll be right back after the break, folks. Don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the ace match is here. It is time. And it is my pleasure to bring it to you as soon as Hydra is able to load the game. There we have it. Jaedong versus Hydra in a Zerg versus Zerg on Neo Emerald Plaza will not decide anything. Okay. Never mind. So this is the current scoreline. We're going to have to reset up the game since for some reason we had Hydra, by the looks of it, crash out. But in the meantime, you can see what happened. We had some strong early games there from Root, who was able to really put on a great performance, with Kelazur pulling it off against In Control, and the team of Hydra and Igers decimating Xenocider and Suppi. However, Suppi was able to take unique advantage of the mechanics of Engines of War in order to create himself a win. Bit cheesy, but it did the job. It was a Ling and Spinecrawler rush. It's the kind of thing that I do in ZVZ, because I hate that matchup. Then, we had Xenocider take on Igers, and a big win for Igers, actually, after an early slip-up in the game, which could have potentially cost him. He was able to bring it back and put on a fantastic showing against the EG Terran. And then, of course, Huck was able to pull it back, along with Jaedong, one after another. Jaedong's first victory, if I recall correctly, in the Clan Wars. Jaedong has actually been playing since Season 1 and has lost every match, with the exception of that one, so that was a big deal. He was able to pull it off in Legacy of the Void using some neat Lurker micro. Exactly what I think we'd expect from the Tyrant himself. And we're now going to attempt to go back into the final map, which will be the Ace on Neo Emerald Plaza, a Zerg versus Zerg between Hydra and Jaedong. I'm just going to confirm that both of our guys are ready. And we will be beginning shortly, and we'll try that one again. And hopefully Hydra won't crash out this time. That would be nice. Hydra confirms ready, Jaedong confirms ready, and the countdown has now begun. Here we go, folks. Let's try that map intro again, and let's hope that this time we don't have the same problem. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on Neo Emerald Plaza. Second time lucky by the looks of it to the southwest position in the Blue Trunks playing Zerg. It is EG Jaedong versus his opponent to the northeast position in the Red Trunks also playing Zerg. It is Root Hydra. A good choice of ace for Jaedong, I feel, since it's a very standard map compared to the others. Nothing too wacky or out of the ordinary. Hello. Hello. Okay, I take that back. That's a 9 pull. This game is going to be over very, very fast, one way or the other. The question is, does Hydra go pool first, or does he go hatch? If he goes hatch, he's probably dead. If he goes pool, he has a good chance of holding it off. It is that simple. 9 pool here from E.G. Jaedong. He wants to close this series out. And what is going to come from Hydra? He's at 14 supply. Is he going pool? Will he build the pool, or will he go for the hatchery? If he goes for the hatchery, he's probably dead. He's gone 15 now. He's going for the pool. Okay, so it's a 9 pool versus a 15. Now, Jaedong's going to be able to make his way across this map very quickly. It's not a very big map. He's going to be able to bring Zerglings onto the field rapidly. Will he be able to bring them on rapidly enough? That's the question. Can he get across the map and do enough damage to justify it? He's not taking gas. So, I mean, this really is just flat out all in at this point, trying to do as much damage as possible. He doesn't have to kill his opponent, but he's got to do enough damage that he can then expand off the back of it. Hydra's now going to take his hatchery, and this looks like it will be a hatch cancel, I would think. Is the Overlord going to see it? It's not. Yes, it will, in fact. There we go. So the Overlord spots that coming across the map, but what exactly can Hydra do about it? Well, he's going to have Lings on the way out. We're going to see Jaedong build the Queen. Will Jaedong attempt to expand off the back of this after forcing a hatchery cancel? He'll have to kill a few drones as well in order to even it up. I don't think he's going to be able to kill him outright. I mean, there's already Lings on the way here for Hydra. The hatchery is a little bit later than you would have hoped. Of course, if this hatchery was already up and he'd done that before the pool, then this would have been a different matter entirely. But Jaedong is not really in a position to do too much damage yet. He's actually building drones now behind it. So he's got to kill some drones of his opponent. He's got a micro well. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job of it. But he just doesn't have the numbers. And Jaedong's being driven back. Hydra has taken minimal losses. And it's currently 1 base up here for Hydra. And Jaedong is not attempting to follow that up with anything. So that basically failed. And he might be up... No, he's not going to get anything done now. His opponent is building a bunch of Lings. I have to wonder, if there is the risk that Hydra now overcommits to Lings. And here's the expansion coming out here from Jaedong. If Hydra overcommits to Zerglings, then we may see this switch back in Jaedong's favor. But right now, Jaedong is behind. Why? Because he is 1 base down. And he's going to be 1 base down for the next minute or so. So his opponent's going to have a lava advantage, his opponent is going to have a drone construction advantage, and that is going to just get further and further and further ahead. And Hydra is now counterattacking, and there's some Lings here, but there's not actually enough. He's going to have to bring the Queen down. This is his only Queen right now, which means that he's going to miss out on it. Oh, actually, never mind, he just popped another Queen out, so he's good. Yeah, not enough units here by Hydra to actually make this work, so there's the cleanup here by Jaedong. I was afraid that Jaedong would miss an injection cycle, but it looks like he is not. He had a second Queen pop out at just the right time. A Spine going down here for Hydra. Interesting move. Jaedong's going to bring some Lings in to try and do something, but I can't exactly anticipate too much going on. He sees the Spine coming up as well. I have to wonder if he'll just pull back now. Oh, looks like he might try and go for it anyway. There are other ways around. I mean, you can go around this way and try and nibble away at the mineral line. I don't think he's going to do too much damage, but we'll see what he can get done. He needs to do whatever he can to catch up right now. His base is up. And it's not a huge difference in workers. In fact, you'll see there's a slight lead here for Jaedong. Since he was able to get away with not building a Spine. He was able to get away with not building those additional Queens for defense. So he cut a few corners to get right back into this. And it seems like the gambit of Jaedong, even though it didn't look that effective, has, in the long term, actually paid off. Alright, Hydra's going to have a look around and see what he can see, and he's going to realize, well, I've got all these Queens now, and I don't really know what to do with them. I guess I can spread creep, but really, is that just helpful for my opponent? Well, kinda. And that means that Jaedong's in a good enough spot right now. He's actually going to take a 3rd hatchery. And it seems like he's playing a few mind games with his opponent right now. Hydra's put in this defensive position, where he feels like, oh god, I'm going to get attacked, I need a Spine, I need additional Queens, oh god, what am I going to do? And he's not really able to roll out across the map and really do much. Jaedong's Overlord looks like it's going to make its way to safety. This one also gets there, surprisingly enough. No creep spread out here from Jaedong, so that's a slight advantage there for Hydra, who is now going to go for a Roach Warren. And this is a very, very solid defensive wall-off right here. There's going to be no Ling run by here whatsoever, which makes me wonder what Jaedong's going to do from here. I mean, he doesn't want to be building any more Lings. He's not going to get anything out of that. And to be honest, he hasn't even built speed, so I can't see that happening. It looks like we're going to go right to lair here for Jaedong. It's probably the right way to go. Maybe attempt to go Muta. Maybe attempt to gain some kind of other tech advantage. I mean, Muta might work, certainly. It's a bit less popular these days, thanks to the Spore Crawler buff a long time ago, but it's still viable. It can work. But let's see what he's doing. Well, he's taking 3 gas. See if he takes the 4th. He takes a 3rd, in fact, sorry. And now, let's see if he takes a 4th gas. If he takes 3, he might just go for a Roach heavy play, and with the Roach 1 coming down, looks like that might be exactly what he's doing. He's going to keep an eye on his opponent. Of course, he doesn't want to risk having no defense against a Roach push. So even if he did go Spire, he might decide to delay that. He has only taken 3 gas, though, so that indicates to me he does want to stick on Roaches for the time being. And if he gets enough Roaches out, he should be able to use that Defender's advantage to make sure that he's able to reinforce consistently. Loses a few Lings in the process, but it's not like they're going to be too much use, and it looks like Hydra's going to gear up for that big attack here. He's going to bring Queens as well. This is a powerful push, and Jaedong might be caught off guard here because it looks like this Roach Woman is a little bit too late. And Hydra's actually going to knock his way through here and gain access. Jaedong sees it coming, but what's he going to do? Well, he's going to build 11 Roaches. They might be up by the time that Hydra strikes, but he's still up against a lot of Lings, and he's got Queens backing him up as well. So this is going to be a difficult push to hold, and it looks like we might see the 3rd base compromised here. Bear in mind, it's only been 2 bases for Hydra up to this point. Lings come in, try to get the surround, and here come the Roaches here as well. We're going to need to see the reinforcements coming in from Jaedong very, very quickly here. It's currently 7 Roaches, 2-11, dives on the Queen, takes it out very easily, and he's going to try and decimate that mineral line as well. Here come a couple of Roaches that are attempting to take out the Queen, but they're not able to do so with the quick transfuse. Double transfuse here by Hydra. Triple transfuse. They will simply not die. And the amount of economic damage that Hydra's been able to do in the process is devastating. There's the GG, and Root picks it up. Jaedong is not able to close it out here for Evil Geniuses. And there is the win for Root. Nice moves there by Hydra. Aggressive 2-base play. Did the job. That 9-pool opening there by Jaedong did not get anywhere near the damage done that was expected or hoped for. And that is the win for Root. Congratulations there to Hydra, who put on a great performance today. Outside of course, the slip-up against Suppy. But that's another 4-3 finish here in the Clan Wars, which is getting crazy common, actually. It's really unusual that we get so many 4-3s. Alright, well, there you go. That, as they say, is that. Alright. Well, what's coming up next? I can tell you. We do have a couple more Clan Wars available over the next few days. Hopefully I'll be feeling a bit better and not... I've been straining quite a bit today, so I apologize for that. We've got, on Sunday, May the 24th, Ascension versus Team Baguette. It's going to be an interesting fight. The North American team taking on the French clan. And on May the 26th, rescheduled, we have Yo Flash Wolves taking on their Pro League partners, Startail, also known as Spenu. And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern, so it's a little bit earlier than usual. All of the lineups are available over on TeamLiquid.net's tournament forum. And we'll hopefully be getting some co-casters in. There were no co-casters available today, I'm afraid, so had to do it myself. Hopefully that won't be the case in future. We'll see who signs up. Alright, folks, a big thanks for watching the Clan Wars today. Apologies for the lackluster commentary. I'm not exactly feeling particularly great right now. But the show must go on. The next match, as I said, will be on the 24th, which is in 4 days' time. Ascension versus Team Baguette. Thank you very much for watching, folks. The reruns will begin shortly, and I'll see you next time.